Hello, and thank you for attending this webinar on what is MineScape Haulage Roads. MineScape Haulage Roads is a plugin that's specifically designed for designing and planning overland roads through the MineScape. They can be useful for planning obviously mine roads, such as call haulage roads or longer-term access roads. Useful for designing dragline or shovel walk paths. If you're taking a dragline or shovel, moving it from one location in the mine to another. Certainly have used them for stream relocations. And you could also potentially use them for embankments and dike design. But the MineScape plugin accurately defines the work required in terms of what cut and fill is required, and also helps you to figure out what the alignment should be as well. So road design is a fairly linear process. You start with horizontal alignment. You then, once that horizontal alignment is designed, then you can then move on to vertical alignment, so vertical curves, etc. We then apply road templates, so what the cross-sectional road will look like. Then generate that road. We'll tie that road then into topography, so projecting up or down with user-specified projection rules. We report volumes, both cut and fill, and at the end of the day, generate some plans. So now I'm going to take you through a haul road design, just a typical haul road design. So here we are in MineScape, and to access the road design functions, we need to go to the plugin manager and install the Haulage Roads plugin. And so doing, you get a series of menus across the top that are designed for the MineScape Haulage Roads. The other thing, it is very graphical when we're doing design work for Haulage Roads. So I do have also a road design file. And in this road design file, I do have a center line. And this center line I've maybe created or developed either through survey information from the surveyors, or from looking at topography and just mapping out the best route that I feel that I would like to take for this road design. Now, once we have our center line defined, we do need to do some setup work, and this is prerequisite work to get to the road design. And again, rather than ask you questions at every step of the way during the road design, we actually have you set this up ahead of time, so you're just picking some things off the list, or we know what parameters you want to use, so you're not continually answering questions, and the design can go quite rapidly for you then. So under the setup menus, we've got a few areas that we need you to set up, one of those being defaults and default parameters. And the default parameters allow you to set things like station spacing. How often should we put a station along this road? What's the maximum grade change that you would allow in your particular road design? Vertical curve length and percent, what that might be. And with the vertical curving, we also put a distance weight power in that. We'll see what that means later on. Display definitions. Again, how do you want these different elements in the road design to appear to you? So we got a center line, chainage, a variety of things here. And you just pick, basically these are just display definitions, you just pick them off the list. We give you a set of defaults, you can accept those or pick whatever you like. And then finally on this setup, MineScape Road Design manages the design file layers for you. And it manages those through a series of suffixes. And these are the suffixes that we provide you by default. You can accept those, or if these aren't quite the suffixes you want, you can obviously change those. But in this case, we're going to take those defaults. Now, another area to set up is the design area. Here we go to design parameters, and these are the parameters wrapped around our road design. So here we give the design file, the road design, a name. I've called it X-Road, and you'll notice when I do that, I get these various layers. These are the layers that will be created, which will contain the various components of our road design. On the display tab, these are the display definitions, again, that will be used for each of these different elements that we're going to create. Under the Design tab, we need a reference surface, and this is basically the topography surface we're going to be using or referencing to. So this is basically topography. This is where we're going to project our route up or down to. This is the reference surface, and then a template design file. And I happen to have one called Road Templates. It has some road design templates in it. That's basically saying, hey, these are where my road templates are. And we'll cover those a little bit later. And then finally, the status really just gives you an idea of where you're at in the road design, whether you got something completed or not completed. Now, another area of setup is chainage labels. You might want to put some chainage labels on your road. So basically, you set this up as various, basically, you give it a name. You can have multiple of these, and just what it is that you want to have on these stations, and what do you want to tag. So here we've got intersection point, and you got a number to choose from, but there's intersection point, tangent of curved, the chain, center line, and a variety of other things here that you could. These are user definable areas that you could, or markers that you could have on your road. You can have those, and then just how you want these stations to appear, and how do they want to appear in CAD. So where do you want to start at? Where do you want to end at? Maybe you want to put an offset, so it's kind of offset so you can actually read it. Maybe so it doesn't get too cluttered with some other elements on the road design. How the format you want to be, what color, font, etc. Is also user definable here. Another area setup is curve type. And under the curve type, you can set this up to provide what type of really the curving that you want to have here on your road design. You can choose a circular curve, but you could also have like a transitional curve. And a transitional curve will basically put a spiral curve from the point of tangent C to the point of the curve, and then around the curve, and then you spiral back out. Just gives you a smoother road design curve calculation. That is based on and how far that transitional curve goes is based on a percentage of the curve. So this is 25% of the curve. Maybe that's too much. Maybe 15%, something like that. You can set that up. Minimum radius. What's the minimum radius that you can accept in your design? Maybe that's 100. It's entirely up to you. You can get smaller radiuses in your design, but the system will let you know that you're exceeding this this minimum radius limit. Another area of setup is the long sections, and long sections I like to refer to them as profiles, but you give this profile specification a name. And again, as you're building these designs and as you're going through a vertical design, you're actually it's going to build you a profile of the road, but you're actually going to be building a plot, set of plot elements as well as the design all at the same time. So when it comes time to make that plot of the design, a lot of that work is done and drawn for you. So it's kind of an extra benefit of the road design package. But here you can put things like what's the company name, if you want to what title do you want to give that. There'll be some text we get to put onto that. You can choose some reference surfaces. You want to see that. You want to see some design lines. So these are display items that you may or may not want to see. You can put various types of information on this profile. So here we like chainage, and we have elevation and difference, and then you can label these. So rather than say chainage, you might want chainage to really say station. So this is a classic example where in some parts of the world it's called chainage, and in other parts of the world it's called station. So you kind of map these up to what you normally refer to these different elements as. The other thing also, vertical line points. You can, again, what do you want to see in that vertical alignment profile? And again, various tag points here, very similar to what we've shown before, but you can pick and choose what items you do want to see, and have those listed here. On the control tabs, again, just some information about how you want this to appear, text size, the exaggeration if you want some of that, what colors you want on there, and so forth. So again, these are just display definitions that you might have created. And another area, cut and fill. Go to the cut and fill section. Here, again, this is all about what specifications do you have when we're going to build this road out, and then we're going to project it to topography. And how do you want that to appear? How do you want that to happen? So a couple of things here. One, give it a name. Two, a target surface. What surface do you want that to go to? The bench method. It can be parallel. Basically, the benches are parallel with the road, or they're just horizontal benches as you march down the side slopes, or you don't want any benches at all. You just want to just right on down and project right on up or down to the topography surface. Here we have parallel, and then you can also put what the minimum bench height is before you start. What's the minimum bench height? What's the maximum bench height? What's berm width? And what slope do you want? And this is different for both cut and fill, so you can have different specifications for the cut and the fill. And this is typically on a slope, basically undisturbed material, perhaps you're cutting into rock, whatever. You might be able to hold a steeper angle on that side slope than if you were on a fill situation. So here's where you can take care of that. And we also have cross-section setup. And so we're going to generate some cross-sections as part of this process for you to plot out and also generate cross-sectional volumes. Again, we give this thing a name. I call it cross-section. You can have multiple of these specifications, obviously. You can put, again, we're going to be generating graphics that you can plot right out. So there's some titles and things that you can have available to you on these cross-sections. So you can put company name and title in there if you like. What elements you want to see in your cross sections, and here I've got there's various elevation, datum, offset, elevation, difference, cut, fill, and you can put those different things. And again, you can enter in what label you'd like to see rather than maybe what's the type. Also, where do you want these cross sections taken at? So here we're going to take a tangent point, tangent a curve, and then also at each chainage level or chainage station. Also, in the controls, you can also set up basically some display definitions on how that will appear. And then down here, you're really setting up some controls on how to lay out these cross sections. And basically, these cross sections are going to be laid out kind of in a row column fashion. So you can specify how many columns you want, how many rows you want. And it's just going to start generating these things. And you can put some offsets from both on a row up and down and across, how that's going to happen. Some text size, Z exaggeration, how you want that Z exaggeration to look, etc. So these are all user definable. You set that up the way you like it, and then just say OK. And then we do have a template setup. And under templates, you can create templates, edit templates, and tag templates. And these template functions are really to set up what is the cross-section look like of this road design. So you might have a crown road, you might have some super elevation, etc. As I mentioned to you, I have a road design template, road templates, design file, and road template. So I'm just going to go over there real quick and open that up. And here are a few of my templates that I've set up. So I've got just going to maybe edit one of these so you can see what it looks like. So here's maybe just a typical crown road. So this is super elevation in this case. So this is a super down. So when I go through a curve, I might want to apply some super elevation, and I want this to be at maybe a steeper cross-sectional slope than perhaps with a crown road. And then, so there's some things you can enter in here. And how that appears is the horizontal offsets and Z offset and some points, tag points. This is how. So this is hooking onto the center line of the road, and then it ends up at the edge of the road. And these tag points are pretty critical. So so these are the edge and center line. And you can also set up some what these attributes are to these things as well. So these are the road templates. This is a super elevation. And then I also have, this is basically for a crown road. So this is basically the cross section. I want the road to slope off to either side for drainage. And so that that vertex is, has a little different, not as steep of a offset as the other one. The other thing about templates, and what we allow you to do, is you also have edge templates along the road, and that's well, if you're in a cut situation, what kind of look do you want to have versus if you're in a fill situation at the edge of the road, what you want to be. So, for example, if you're in a fill situation, you might, by law, have to have a bit of a berm, a safety berm, so people, have a sufficient height to keep people from running off and down over the side slope. So we also have, I've also just went ahead and created what I call a berm template, and again, this will hook on to the edge of the road, and then work up and I specify two user-defined locations, which is basically the top of the berm here. So these are templates. Basically define those, and then these are used, and you're going to assign these templates to the generated road. Now I'm just going to go back to our road design file, and we can now get started. Now that we've got our setup complete, we can now get started on our road design. And for that, we will first set our current road design. We'll set that to be our crossroad and say OK to that. Now, once we've done that, you see that MineScape Road Design has gone ahead and created these layers for us. And these are layers that our various elements of our road design are going to be located in. Now, as I mentioned to you, road design is a fairly linear process, and under the road pull down, we've kind of listed these processes in order that you would perform them in. So you're going to perform an initial alignment. Basically, what is the center line? Defining that. Horizontal alignment, the vertical alignment. Then you're going to commit that alignment. We're going to apply some templates, generate the road cut fill projections, and then generate some surface. So this is pretty much laid out in the way that you're going to create this design file, so this road. So under initial alignment, you need to say, well, hey, what is your center line, basically, of your road? So you can input a line, which means if you select that, you're just going to be asked you to enter the points. I happen to have one already on screen, so I'm just going to pick existing, and it's going to say, give me a message, okay, override, yeah, and I'm going to select this line. And that line will now become my road center line. The other thing you also have under the display area, you can choose what layers you want on and off. You can certainly turn them on and off here, but this particular one gives you some more meaningful names. So here I want the lines on here, I want the batter surface, so that generated road, these are the different design elements that really relate to what these layers are in perhaps more meaningful terminology. So there is my initial road, and we have the stations that we've stationed intervals that we've specified in our design. Okay, now that I have my initial center line defined, the next task on the list is horizontal alignment. Here I'm going to enter a curve into my alignment. These are, I'm going to have a curve down through here, horizontal. So I'm going to pick this corner, and I'm going to enter in a curve. And you can see the transitional curve coming in on that as well with those two markers there. And this is pretty dynamic. You can see the radius change, but I'm going to enter in a specific radius of 1200. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put in another curve along this edge. And again, I want a specific radius here of these designs. I might have a 1100. Okay, and then finally, this last curve, I might come in here and stick something in about here. And again, I'm just going to key in 1500 as my curve radiuses. So when I'm completed with this, I can just hit quit, and then my stations get transferred to that new horizontal alignment. So my stations are actually along the the new center line, new alignment of the road. So now I have my initial line built. I've got my horizontal alignment designed. I now need to go to vertical alignment. And the first thing here we want to do is drape. So this is going to drape this my center line onto my reference topography. And down here, drape road, X road onto topo. So you know that's when it's finished. So then we can go down here and start looking at our long section and take a look at what this section is going to be. So here we have the long section, and what we do here is we really have this yellow line really represents the beginning and the end of the road, and this road is stretched out. This red line is the topography that I'm going across, and these other lines are just various lines that I have in my current design file. They really don't reflect anything. These information along the side is what I asked for in my road profile setup. So I've got some numbers here along each of the stations. They represent what the station is, elevation difference, and reference surface. So here I need to maybe enter in some vertical curves. So I'm going to go down here to road, vertical alignment, insert vertex, and I'm going to be inserting vertex on this this flat graded line here, and I'm going to kind of put some curves in here. So I kind of want to look at this, and you can kind of snap to different things. I'm just going to eyeball this in. I want one probably right in about there, and then maybe another vertical curve maybe right in about here, just to try to even out the cuts and fills. And you'll notice there that it puts a vertical curve in this vertical alignment right here. Now that's kind of what I have. So if I go to road, vertical alignment, and I do another long section, then I will get my I've asked for some grade information on my long section, so this gets updated to what grades I do have. So 4 degrees, 1 degree, and then minus 2.56 degrees. So you can show these either as degrees or percentage, depending on what your current project units are set to. So if I'm happy with that, I can then commit that alignment. So basically puts the this vertical alignment in sync with the horizontal alignment that I've done. Okay, and there we're back to top view. Now at this point I've completed my horizontal, vertical, commit alignment. Now I need to add some templates. I'm going to apply some templates to this road center line, and and you can apply these individually, or you can kind of do this automatically. So again, if you want to do more of a just more of an automated approach, that's what I'm going to show you. So a normal template, if I'm going down this straightaway here, that is a normal template. As I go into these curves, how do you want that to appear? So I'm going to use for the inside template, super down. For the outside template, super up. Use my crown road. You just do the complete road. You can pick the curve. You can pick some different changes and so on through this form. But I'm just going to go ahead and use, just going to put it all in there. And what that's going to do is put a template at each point that I asked for. So as it goes down the straightaway, I have this crown template, and as I go into the curve, it's going to move into some super elevation along this curve. And coming out the other end, you're going to see the super elevation, and then back out to the normal road again down through the straight stretch. Okay, now that I have my templates applied to my center line, I now can generate the road, and that's the next thing on the list. So generate the road, and here's where we can apply my edge templates. So if I'm in a cut situation, I've defined a ditch template, and then if I'm in a fill situation, I've defined a berm template. So that's going to get applied as I create this road. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, if I turn that up on edge, you can kind of see the berms here. So this is a fill situation here, and then it comes into a cut situation, which is where my ditch is coming in to the design, and then back out to another fill situation. So that is basically the cross-sectional of my road extruded along the center line. Okay, now that I have my basically my road generated along the center line, I'm now going to just do some cut fill, and this is going to allow me to project the edge of this road up or down to my reference surface, which is my topography surface. Now I've chosen this batters. You can have different ones here, but this is from our design and our setup. And we'll say OK to that. So it's going to go along this road, and based on my parameters, project this road up and down through to topography, putting in those benches as I requested along both the left and right hand side of the road. And here you can kind of get an idea of those projections, and in this case benches that I've included in my design. And now that I've got my projections created, completed, I can then generate surfaces. So this really generates a triangulated surface. You can do a combined road and batter surface, or just a roadway only, or create both, but I'm going to do them all. Say OK to that. So basically it's going to say take these design lines, projections and so on, and generate a triangulated surface from it. And here it has completed it. So once complete, again, I can go to my display and maybe turn those on. So I'm going to turn the batter surface on, and this is basically my triangulation of my complete road surface. And this is what we'll be using for generating volumes, and you can even patch this into an existing surface, so you have an ultimate final road surface that you might want to use. Now, one thing you might want to do, and what we provide for, is the ability to drive down the road. This is a good way for you to figure out, is my design good, or is there anything in there that doesn't quite look right? There's some settings you can create here. We're going to get up off the road a little bit, maybe more like a haul truck this height up off the road, and then we're just going to kind of drive down that road. And here we can see, we're going through this cut area. We got the ditch along here, fill areas. We got our berms here, and again we got our super elevation. So we can kind of just drive down through here and just see what this road would look like if we drive down. Looking for maybe any irregularities, or just making sure that we think the road looks reasonable. Okay, now that we have our road design surfaces created, we can then move on to generating some volumes. And first off, we want to do maybe some cross sections. So we're going to generate some cross sections using our cross section specification we created. And what this is going to do is, again, create cross sections that are based on our specification, and present those to us in a way that we can either plot those, and we're also going to get some volume information off those as well. So if we kind of see, we had rows and columns we specified for our cross sections. Each one of these cross sections covers the different chainage or station along there. There's station 600, and you'll notice that there's no cut and fill information on that. We'll go down here and look at the first one. So what we can do there is also under volume, cross sections, it will basically fill that in for us so that we have a set of volumes for each of the stations or chainages. And then down here at the bottom it will give us a nice total volume for cut and fill and the net. What's the difference between a cut and a fill? So these are then available, again for plotting, whatever. And then also you can also do volumes by surfaces, and this is basically the MineScape surface volumes function. Again, looking at the created road surface versus the reference surface. And here we can see we have very see there is some difference here, and that some difference could be from where we're taking our cross sections, how many cross sections we're taking, and we're taking it at the stations and at the curve areas. That we may need more for our average end area volumes. We may want to have more cross sections or take more samples along that area, so might reduce our stationing, or again we could just grab these numbers, and that's a pretty reasonable cut fill balance on that in this particular case. So this concludes our webinar for today. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions regarding purchasing the Haulage module, please direct those to Chris Perry. And now, at the end of our conclusion of our webinar, I'll be happy to take any questions that you might have.